Yo, 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 thanks for tuning in to the third episode of J Talks Crypto, where I talk about why I think that Bitcoin Cash is a scam and why y'all should be careful. So, here's the deal with Bitcoin Cash. And this is just my opinion on it. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a guy with a microphone and a $15 tripod. So, and I'm just on YouTube, so do your own due diligence and do your own research, but this is my opinion on the matter. Bitcoin Cash is a fork. And if you don't know what a fork is, it's essentially someone takes the code and then they change it a little bit and then they call it their own coin. Now, what makes Bitcoin Cash a little bit unique is that essentially when the chain first started, there was just like this big ass group of developers and they all worked on Bitcoin Core, right? And there was this debate that came up eventually because as you know, like maybe sometimes if you try using Ethereum, you'll notice that the transaction fees are really high. Bitcoin has the same problem where if there's a lot of traffic on the network, essentially transacting on the network becomes really expensive. Now, there were two proposed solutions in the community on this issue, and essentially the proposed solutions were: one, increase the block size, or two, scale off chain. And like I said in the intro, I'm not trying to get way too technical, but essentially what it boils down to is like, do we sacrifice security for speed, or do we sacrifice speed for security and scalability? It's just something that happens with blockchains and this technology. It's not as streamlined as it should be at this point, but essentially the community voted, and you can see that, and it's reflected in the price. Now, a lot of times what Bitcoin Cash proponents say is that, hey, if you read the Satoshi's white paper, he essentially envisioned this as a worldwide payment system, and Bitcoin has strayed from that. And I'm just like, yo, have y'all actually read the white paper? Because as far as I know, there's a very so Satoshi envisioned this problem and he coded something into it where essentially it would resolve itself, and it's called the longest chain. So the coolest thing about Bitcoin is that you don't have to essentially rely on anybody to tell you if it's yours or not. You can just download what's called Bitcoin Core. Is just a program. Go to bitcoin.org and then you download the blockchain, and whatever blockchain is downloaded, that's essentially what it is. And then like if you really wanted to, what you could go through is like you can go and start tracing the math to see, it's like, hey, is what I'm looking up legit? You can just do the math. And essentially what Satoshi says is the longest chain is Bitcoin. So anything else is just a fork. And if you're not too new into this space, you might have heard different systems of blockchains, and one of them is called proof of work, and the other is called proof of stake. Sorry, I was drinking seltzer before, and I had to burp a little bit. Anyway, so the proof of work chain, essentially the longest chain, the way it works is just whichever chain has more computational power allocated to it is Bitcoin. And if you want to call Bitcoin Cash Bitcoin, like, I just think that's unethical, because you've read the white paper, you can see what it says in the white paper, and the white paper just says like, yo, you're not the longest chain, so you're just a fork. You're just another project. You're trying to make a universal payment system, and the only reason why anyone cares about your project is because you guys were involved early and you registered bitcoin.com. If your name wasn't Bitcoin, nobody would care about your project, or you would just be another project over there in the mist. Why does, it just doesn't make sense if you've actually read the white paper and you actually care about the project. Because what you would do, if in my opinion, what I would do if I was really super duper into Bitcoin Cash, and I'm not, what I would do is like, hey, look, guys, like, according to the white paper, we're clearly not Bitcoin. That calling ourselves Bitcoin is just factually incorrect. So what we should do is like, let's not confuse new people in the space. It's a little bit disingenuous. maybe what we should do is like set up a redirect where it says, hey, Bitcoin, if you go to bitcoin.com, it shows you like, are you looking for bitcoin.org? And then maybe have like a split where it shows like not Bitcoin Cash. Don't call yourselves Bitcoin Cash because it's just going to confuse people. You're going to have to write a new white paper and essentially say like, Bitcoin failed us in creating a universal payment system. We are blank coin. So this is what we're trying to do. And we have the most computational resources allocated to our system other than Bitcoin. So, and you can use your existing Bitcoin hardware to mine our coin. But we're not Bitcoin because we're not the longest chain. And if we want to become Bitcoin, then what we have to do is become relevant enough so that everyone starts to mine our chain. And then once we overtake Bitcoin and once we become the dominant chain, then someone can download Bitcoin Core, have the exact same file that they had since 2009 and 10 and 11, and it would get updated. And they would know which one is Bitcoin because they don't have to ask. So I get really upset sometimes when people say like, oh, Bitcoin Cash, it's like, oh, it's a faster payment system. Like, oh, that's a fair point. It's not a fair point because you lost. I don't know how else to like explain it, but like Bitcoin Cash, I'm sorry if you love it. You lost. You lost. And you guys will always lose because no one cares about speed at this stage. The market essentially decided that we will not compromise on security for speed. And that's why Bitcoin is 50K, 60K, and that's why it's going to 200 and 300 and eventually a million. And that's why Bitcoin Cash is always just going to be irrelevant. And the only reason Bitcoin Cash does anything, in my opinion, is because it just confuses new people who have never been a part of the debate and they don't really understand. And they probably have honestly never even read the white paper. Let's be real. You know, it's just those are just my thoughts on it. I'm sorry if I get a little bit passionate about this topic. It just irks me. There's a lot of Bitcoin Cash proponents who just like say, "Oh, it's Bitcoin Cash." It's like, dude, it's not Bitcoin. You're calling it something that it's not, and it's like calling green blue. It doesn't make sense. At least to me, it doesn't. And you know, you guys are just confusing new people in the space. And I'm not saying that the block size debate is shut down, whatever. We can never ever open it up again. I'm just saying you can't call yourselves Bitcoin because you're not. That's what Satoshi says. And you can go read the white paper yourself and look up the longest chain section. Don't trust me. Don't trust my word for it. It's all there. I don't know. Go do the research. I just wanted to warn new people. As I said, this channel is not really supposed to be just about talking about the daily price or whatever. Don't get me wrong. I still think we're going to the moon, but it's just I care about this. I care about this from the technology perspective, and that's kind of why I got interested. And when I first got into this space, in all honesty, that confused me because I didn't know anything about it. So like the first couple of times I bought Bitcoin, I converted some into Bitcoin Cash because I was like, oh, like maybe this is the real Bitcoin, because I didn't really understand that the community already voted, and it's just and I got a little bit wrecked, and it's just bad. And that's what's gonna happen. A whole bunch of people, they're gonna be in you. They're gonna say like, oh, I'm a little bit too late onto Bitcoin now, so I'm gonna get this other thing that I kind of agree with a little bit more, and you're gonna lose money, and it's gonna suck, and you're gonna walk away from the space burned, thinking everything is a scam, and you're gonna see Bitcoin go to $1 million, and you're gonna feel really, really stupid. And that's what I'm just trying to prevent with this video. Bitcoin Cash is a scam. If you buy it, make sure you understand what you're getting into. It's just a whole bunch of disorganized people that are just trying to take your money, and we're just trying to make Bitcoin into a cash grab, in my opinion. And that's why I don't buy it. It's just yeah, whatever y'all could, yeah. That's my opinion on Bitcoin Cash, aka Bitcoin trash. JTalks Crypto signing off.